观众朋友，欢迎收看本期的最佳方案。在美国一般汽车二手车市场呢，年交易量有4000多万辆，是新车交易量的4倍还多。所以很多新移民呢，在美国买的第一辆车呢，都是二手车。二手车的最大优势呢，就是它的性价比高。但是一个让人最大担心的地方呢，就是车的具体车况到底怎么样。如果买个二手车回来，没有多久呢，就要开始修这儿修那，那是件太糟糕的事情了。那么如何才能买的一个让人放心的二手车呢？中间有哪些环节一定要把握好呢？为此呢，我们采访了行业的资深人士 Tom Available。Tom 呢是 Brand 汽车集团市场部的经理。Brand 汽车集团在纽约和新泽西有17家车行，大家熟知的曼哈顿 Toyota、贝瑞的 Toyota、曼哈顿 Honda 都是这个汽车集团的子公司。30多年的行业经验，使得他对二手车的市场有着深入的了解。
The best thing to look for in a second-hand or used or pre-owned car is a vehicle history report. A document that says this is the car, this is the car's life, this is the actual mileage, this is the actual wear and tear, here's the maintenance that's been done on the car, here's what's due, and here's what problems might exist. That vehicle history report is essential. It is the best way to judge the value of a car. When some brokers, middlemen, and other dealers are under no obligation to reveal the history of the product, and in some cases don't want to tell you where the car came from or what features the car has. A licensed dealer is duty-bound to sell a good product that is represented well. In other words, knowing the history of the car. In the case of a new car dealer, you can only buy a new car from a new car dealer. In the case of a used car, or the car is more likely to be sold by brokers on the street or by middlemen or even a brother-in-law, we would be duty-bound to supply a vehicle history report that shows you where the car has been, if it has any major repairs, been in an accident, been in a flood or a storm, so that you're buying with confidence. So the design of the law is to protect the consumer. And as a licensed dealer, we have to be licensed by the Department of Motor Vehicles and the Department of Consumer Affairs. So both the car, the vehicle, is assured of being quality, and that the arrangements in the deal, the financing, is under the auspices of Consumer Affairs. And every day, we have to make sure that we comply with the law. That's not true of dealers who are unlicensed. Unfortunately, there's a lot of practices in the car business which unscrupulous dealers or non-licensed dealers or people who do not have to answer to the state can come up with. The most obvious are sometimes they can roll back the odometer. And in this instance, the car may appear to be newer because it has less mileage on it when in fact it's actually older. The disclosure of the history of a car. We recently had Hurricane Sandy, and between 180 and 300,000 cars were effectively destroyed during Hurricane Sandy. Many of those cars have found themselves on the streets of New York being sold as they've been cosmetically fixed, but the actual car is damaged. It may have mold, it may have water damage, it may have engine damage, but the buyer's unaware of that. It looks good. They polished it up. It looks great. A licensed dealer could not sell that car. Many cars are sold for parts in the business, but again, some people take that car that's only really good for parts and sell it as a used car for someone to operate. All of these things can happen in a world where there's no license, where there's no state looking at the deal or looking at the car and ensuring the quality of the car and the value of the deal. Well, a flooded car could have, first of all, it could have mold, which is not a healthy situation. It can be, they can use the spray and freshener to get the smell out while you're buying the car, but the mold is still under the floor, under the carpeting, in the upholstery. This rubber seals on a car. The engine itself may have gotten water and may be on the verge of some major mechanical repairs. And then it depends on the type of water, salt water, is very corrosive to the chassis and the frame of the car. And if it really got in there, the car could literally erode much faster than normal wear and tear.
我想啊，买二手车的人最怕的可能就是买到这样的被水泡过的车子。懂车的人都知道，如果发动机经过水了以后，那真的是很麻烦。但是呢，上千辆这样的车呢，在二手车市场已经被卖掉了。这样的事情呢，应该引起我们的警醒。我觉得比较有保障的呢，还是要到有执照的车行来买二手车，这样呢，应该会保险很多。买车的另一个重要因素呢，就是车的价格。那这里面又有什么样的玄机呢？我们来听汤姆说说。
The biggest reason why sometimes an ad for a broker might appear lower than an ad for a factory dealer or a licensed dealer is because as a factory dealer, we are held to certain covenants. We are held to certain agreements. For example, we cannot advertise a super low price on a car, which would not be in keeping with the factory. A broker is under no such requirement. We can sell the car for cheaper. We just can't advertise a cheaper price because of advertising and marketing restrictions imposed on us by the factory. Broker is under no such restrictions. So the broker can advertise a cheaper, let's say, price, but you should know this, that broker has to buy the car from us. And when that broker buys that car from us, they're then adding their profit to the cost that they sell to the customer. If the customer came right to us, there wouldn't be that middleman profit. We can't advertise that price because of advertising and marketing restrictions for the factory, but we can sell it for a lot less. For example, we had a lady come in and she bought a car for $1,000 less than what we advertised the price for. And she thought she got a good deal. And if you stop there, she did get a good deal. But because she was going through a third party that doesn't have a strong relationship with the banks, her finance, the amount of money she had to pay to finance the car, was at a very high rate. I believe in this instance it was 9%. So in the actual cost of the car was $4,500 more than had she bought it from us. Had she bought from us, our price was $1,000 more. Our interest rate would have come out to $900. She would have saved $3,500 over the course of the car. So things aren't always what they appear. A low price isn't always a guarantee that you're going to pay less. Well, unfortunately, there are some practices in the industry where, in some cases, they'll misrepresent the mileage on a car by what we call rolling back the odometer, which is the part of the car that tells you, how far the car has been driven. Rolling that back gives the car greater value, apparently. But in point of fact, the car may actually be older. Without a licensed dealer, there's no way to know the value of the car you're buying. Let's say the car is scheduled for a major repair at 60,000 miles. The broker has rolled it back to 30,000 miles. The car actually is at 58,000 miles. So in a couple of months, you're going to be hit with a very expensive repair, which if you don't have a warranty that we would offer, if you're on your own, is going to be very expensive for you to fix the car. You wouldn't know that without a vehicle history report. At a licensed dealer, yes, you have, in New York State, you have 3 days to return a car for if there's major problems with it or it's been sold to you and misrepresented. But here's what people should know. Most third-party brokers and middlemen buy their cars out of state, in states where there is no lemon law. They are not duty-bound to replace the car or to return the car within 3 days because it's an out-of-state car. We can, whether it's an out-of-state car or not, for us, by license, we have to give everyone 72 hours. It's called the lemon law, actually. We have to give everyone 72 hours, regardless of where the car came from. A broker, if the broker does not buy the car in New York State, they're under no such obligation. A licensed dealer has to follow the 3-day law.
听了汤姆的介绍呢，我们才知道在美国买二手车还有这么多需要关注的地方。我们感谢汤姆给我们带来这些知识。现在看来啊，为了保障自己的权益，不仅是新车，哪怕是买二手车，也要到有执照的车行来买。同时呢，一定要查询车的历史资料，这都是非常重要的。好，本期的节目呢就到这里，我们下期节目再见。